Oh, oh, I'm on. Yes, that was on the drop. Alright guys, finally I found a minute to sit down and do this review. I've been trying to do this Vanford review for quite a while now guys, and yeah, let's get right to it. Okay, so Shimano Vanford. Well, I have the 4000 size here, and I've been using this reel for quite a while now. I would say close to maybe 8 months, 9 months, and I've put it through some heavy use. So I'm not going to keep this review too long, guys. I just want to share my thoughts about this reel. I know there's tons of reviews out there on the Vanford. The reason I bought this was because I wanted to use it for inshore and you know, saltwater. So being an MGL reel, I was really curious to see how it would hold up, mostly during saltwater fishing. So let's start at the top. We have the Shimano carbon drag system. I gotta say guys, you really can't go wrong with the Shimano carbon drags. It's a really nice factory drag system. It's very smooth, you know, it releases smoothly even on tight pressure. I have not run this, you know, on super tight drag, you know, where I've had to lock the drag down or anything like that, obviously, because I use this reel with 10 to 15 pound line. That's, you know, mostly light tackle stuff. And, you know, I've had it turned down quite a decent amount while fighting fish, and, you know, it's performed really well. It's been performing really smooth, and, you know, it gets the job done. Drag sound is pretty nice, you know, it's clean and crisp. And I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I really like it when a reel has a nice drag sound. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys can relate to that. You know, it sounds nice when the drag, you know, peels off, and the drag on this sounds pretty good. So moving down to the line lay, this is the line lay as it came from the factory. I've not added any washers or anything like that, and you can see it's pretty good. It's a very even line lay, no complaints there. Perfect line lay actually. Bail arm feels good, positive lock, good lock up there. Hard casting, heavy lures, light lures. Never had the bail close on me. And just moving down to the mechanics of the reel, it's a really smooth reel, guys. I mean, Shimano's in general, they are really smooth, but the Vanford, being an MGL reel, you know, with the composite body and the composite rotor, it's a really smooth reel. It needs very little rotational inertia to, you know, start moving. So it's really nice when you're using lighter lures, especially in you know, freshwater applications, where you're using small lures like, you know, 5, 6, 7 grams, or even if you're jigging, you know, if you're shore jigging, it gives you nice control, precise control, where you don't need to put a lot of pressure on the handle, where little movements you can pick up the slack and, you know, work the lure, and it's great for that. It's lovely. Just moving on to the body, you know, and the rotor strength and rigidity, because when I bought this reel, that was my main concern. You know, I didn't want a reel that flexed a lot under load or heavy cranking or anything like that. And, you know, this being a composite reel, obviously, you know, that's one of your concerns, because you never know what kind of fish that you will run into, you know. And so far I've managed to put some decent fish on this, you know, caught some flatties in the surf, some trevally, and, you know, fishing inshore, some decent, you know, large barramundis, even some close to 20 pounds. And I must say, you know, at no point while fishing did I feel this rotor or, you know, the MGL body flex. So that was great. That was really great for me to kind of experience, because I mean, I was or have been using a Diver Fuego LT, previously for similar kind of fishing, and that's what I replaced this reel with. I got rid of the Fuego and I've started using the Vanford in its place. And the Fuego used to, it also comes with a composite body and stuff like that, and that reel you can feel some flex. I mean, I would not say that this is a dedicated saltwater reel, guys, but generally when I buy a reel, I try to test it out on saltwater, inshore, and freshwater, because a 4,000 size reel, I feel I need, I feel I need to be able to use it in all three fishing scenarios, and so far this reel has held up really good. So for now, I think if I were to go over the pros and cons of this reel, the pros would be a really smooth drag system, excellent line lay, very lightweight reel, guys. Obviously, I mean, the Vanfords and even the predecessor, the Stradic CI4s, I mean, they were built to be light, and this is no exception. It is a very lightweight reel, physically lightweight, and very smooth. Even after all this use, you can see it takes very little effort to get the handle going, and also, yeah, even though it's an MGL reel, frame seems pretty sturdy, so it is capable of pretty much, in my opinion, whatever you can handle, whatever you can throw at it in a freshwater application and inshore. Saltwater, obviously it's questionable because it really depends on what kind of fish you hook into. If it's a really huge fish, I mean, yes, as long as you don't have to put too much pressure on the fish, I feel like you can still land some pretty good fish. But obviously, if you're fighting like huge trevallies, 15-20 kilo plus trevallies, this is not the reel for you guys. You need an all-metal reel where you can put some serious pressure on the fish. So if that's kind of fishing that you do, I would not recommend the Vanford for that. But if you want an all-round reel for ultralight to light tackle fishing, this thing's got you covered, definitely. And the gearing is smooth, the operation of the reel is smooth. Love the drag release, the sound, positive clicks on the drag knob, and I love this long knob, this long handle. I wish they had this on the Stellas, because on the Stellas, this part of this knob it's so tiny, and you literally have to grab the drag knob with your fingertips, and it's really tough to adjust the drag. Whereas in this, it nicely fits your fingers, and they have these knobs on the cheaper Shimano reels like the Stradics and the Vanfords and even the old Stradic FKs and the Ultegras and stuff like that. And I wish they did something similar for the Stellas, but yeah, anyway, that's a different video. So okay, so those are the pros, right? And if I were to think of the cons, really, I can think of two cons, right? One is, I mean, it's not really a con, the first one, but it could be a negative for some of you guys, is the fact that the Vanford is not a cheap reel, right? It's a mid $250 reel, so it does require some investment on the part of the angler, so depending on your budget, it could be a con or it could be not a con, right? So if you're looking for a really cheap reel, this is not it. This is a mid-range reel, so it usually retails for $220 to $250 depending on where you buy it from. You may be able to get it cheaper on discount online in certain shops, but on average, yeah, you're looking in the mid $200 range. Now, the second thing, which is a con that I've noticed, is that after I started fishing this thing in saltwater, I noticed that the last couple of times I was using the reel, the roller bearing was making a noise. So obviously the bearings have got a little bit of rust in it. Now, every time I use the reel, guys, I am careful to clean the reels and stuff like that, and and store it. There are times when the reel sits in my car for about a day or two. However, having said that, I treat all my reels the same way. So if there are other reels, other Shimanos that I've had, pins and all these other reels that have also sat in the car for a day or two without being washed every now and then. So, it's not like this gets any special treatment. So, but this is the first Shimano that I've had where I've had an issue so soon with the roller bearing. So I'm not sure if it's because it was not washed on time or because it was washed and then not, dried immediately or anything like that. But I did realize the last one or two times that I was using this, the roller bearing was making a little bit of a sound. So I will have to replace the roller bearing. But really, that's the only negative thing, like the serious negative thing that it's not even serious. I mean, it's the only con that I can think of uh, about this reel. Everything else is just positive. For the price, even for the price that you pay, even though it's a mid-range reel, you do get a lot of reel. I mean, it's a nice reel. It's smooth. It can handle pretty much any fishing situation as long as it's not too heavy duty. Um, and it's just a nice reel to use in general. But yeah, if you do use it in salt, don't be surprised if the roller bearing needs changing after some use. So there you have it, guys. The good, the bad, the ugly about the Shimano Vanford. I didn't want to keep this too long. I just wanted to do this review and speak about my personal experience with this reel, fishing it hard for 7 to 8 months straight. So if you guys are looking for an all-round reel that does freshwater inshore and light saltwater fishing, then definitely I would advise you to consider the Vanford. It's a nice option. It's very light. It's smooth. It's got excellent line lay. So you really can't go wrong with it, right? But I would not advise that you use this reel for any type of heavy saltwater fishing, simply because, I mean, there have been times where I've had to force fish out of the structure and I've had to use a little bit of extra, cranking pressure on the handle, and it has given this reel a little bit of play. I mean, a little bit more than it came with the factory. But I'm always careful to, pull the fish out with the rod and then reel in the slack. But then sometimes, you need to get the fish out so fast. You're doing both, you're yanking the fish out with the rod and you're cranking down a little hard on the handle too. So I would not recommend that kind of fishing with this, because this is, end of the day, a light tackle reel. So avoid that. But for your general purpose use, freshwater, inshore, and saltwater, yeah, it's a great reel, guys. I would advise you guys, if you're considering it and thinking about it, I would say go for it. Hope you guys enjoyed this review, guys. Hope to do more. I have a couple of reviews coming up, maybe some other reels, with twin powers and things like that. So make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, and as always, thank you so much for the support, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.